start using hips in karate, just like everything, it's really big. And that's good. You want big hips to start with karate. You want to wind up with leverage, snap forward, big punch. So everyone just stand Head Arch with a bit of space. I want you to think about big hips. So big hips mean you really wind up, hand comes back, big hips go forward to punch. Big hips, big hips, big hips, big hips. So there's a lot of movement. Your head doesn't really go very much. It still faces the front, but the knot on your belt does a lot of twist. A lot of twist. Geki Sorai Itch, you have the opportunity to do that because of how long the motions are. They are very long motions, which means you can use big, long hip movements. Next, it has to be short hip movements. So your knot on your belt only moves about that much rather than that much. And this is the key to Saifa. The reason why Saifa is one of the first katas is to get you to concentrate those hips to a smaller thing. The only time in Saifa you can use big hips is right at the end when you're doing this punch and when you're doing the snap. Everything else has to be small hips, concentrated hips. And that means your obliques, through your hip flexors down to your thighs, this connection through your core is your strength to give you that power for the short hips. Okay, so just your own time. I just want you to go through Saifa once, just so you've got it in your head and you're ready to go. Just your own time. Good. Okay, so if we take our first few moves from the start, you all know that your right hip should push out to there to get you to here into a perfect Masood arch. Now make sure you enter this Masood arch. It is not here. First thing I want you to check today is your Masood arch. This is not Masood arch. This makes your knees go out, which is no good. And generally what happens is when your toes are pointing too wide, you don't want to open your knees, which means you stand too straight. So we need to close our feet and drop our knees forwards so that you're covering your groin. Next thing, this hand that goes across here should be nice and straight. Horizontal, parallel to the ground. You know, if you've gone too high, it's going to point up. If you've gone too low, it's going to point down. It's perfect position when it's exactly straight across your body, which means you go from there to there. No gap through here at all. You will be able to see this gap when you do it wrong. When you leverage your arm, there's a big gap that happens through here. When you use those concentrated hips, it never goes away from your body. The focus is not your elbow. The focus is through your inside of your wrist, touching your body. Keep it in tight, because naturally that elbow will just always pop out a little bit. The bunkai, yes, is big elbow, but kata, small elbow. Hip back, small with your hips, to then small with your hips. It can't be big. It has to be small. Concentrated here to get that snap. First three moves, go. Okay. From here, I step on an angle and snap across. If you're looking at me straight on, there should be no gap between anything and my hand. So rather than my hand coming over here where there's a big gap between my body, a lot of you block like this, and it's, even though it's coming forward, you've got this big gap across here. No gap, put it really close to your heads. Close, close, because the punch is going to come at you, which means your block has to be at the punch, not over here. No good. This is leverage. This is elbows in and power. Do it again. Go. Up. Next thing. Your hands, your arms, you have to work together, but they have to be independent from each other. So they can't be working together like this. They have to make each other better by working independent from each other, which means that one makes that one better. They can't be individual things. They have to be one thing, but they work independently from each other to do what they need to do. The circle of that creates the circle of that. 1, 2, 1, 2. They're moving together and finishing together. The only thing that finishes is the pullback afterwards. But when that hits, then you pull back. So this time, focus on both hands working together, making one better, and the other one makes the other one better. Go. Next. Uraken. Uraken. We call it Uraken. Uraken is the proper name for this back knuckle. You must have a flexible wrist, but a tight fist. Now, there's a big difference though between a tight fist and an engaged fist. You can't have a tight fist when it comes to Uraken. When it's tight, it tightens your forearm. Forearm then tightens your bicep, which creates this. And this is what a lot of you do. You end up going, and it's just a solid technique. Uraken is a flicking technique, which means your arm is engaged in what's happening. It's not tight. It's not tight until you finish. My hand is closed and engaged in what's happening, but my wrist has to be flexible. So then it can be 1, 2, and you get this flicking motion of your wrist. So this one, block, strike, tight, engaged, flexible, tight. Slow it down if you need to. There's too many solid wrists. Go. Okay. So if your arm is a whip, it means the back of your knuckles is the end of that whip. That's your finished product to there, which means the handle of your whip is underneath your armpits, because you can't be your shoulder that makes it happen. When your shoulder makes it happen, then it's not fast enough. It's got to be underneath here. So we drop down to give us the speed. Shoulder, no speed. Lats, down, that's where you get your speed from. So the handle of your whip is under your arm, not above your arm. And a lot of you end up going above and trying to use your shoulder. It's down and using your lats. Down. Everything's down. Squeeze down. This will give you the smaller block, and this will give you your faster circle. Shoulders, big block, big circle. Too slow. Down, lats, small. Right side, left side, right side. Go. With the power of this move. So being able to drop, as you drop and the power drops into the ground, this is how you get your speed and power going this way. So rather than thinking about stepping back, I want you to think about dropping. And this power dropping down into the ground will reflect and come out through your strike. So from here, small hips, snap, and then down, creates this power. As soon as you step backwards, and everything's focused on stepping, very little power going that way. It'd be similar to doing it in head arch. But when your power is dropping, the power of this one dropping then helps that one be strong. So everything works together. Power dropping, hand dropping, power going into your strike. Go. Now get your stance, creating the block, which creates the strike. What you should notice is that if you want to do a fast block and a fast strike, you can't do it with a slow move. It can't be slow, fast. It just doesn't work. You have no coordination and power to it. So the faster you drop and the faster you can slam yourself down to here is going to be the speed that it creates everything else. Most of the time in karate, it's not necessarily the thing that you're thinking about is the most important thing. So most people worry so much about their hands, they forget about their stance, which means they're losing all their power. But if you focus on your stance, that gives you power for your strike. Then you're in a perfect stance, one less thing to worry about. Last 20 seconds, just the first part of Saifa. 1, 2, 3, go. Right, last thing about this though, guys, is that when you speed up how you do things, the next mistake that people make is they speed, 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 and then they speed again. You've got to take time to breathe. So in Saifa, it should be from here, it should be fast, stop. Fast, stop, fast, breathe. Move. 1, 2, 3, breathe. Then move. Do it one more time, and I want you to take a breath after the first block, then move. Okay, now, a lot of karate, when you want to get power and slingshot power in what you do, you need to tighten up your body one way and let it go. You need to figure out a way how to tighten yourself and pull that rubber band before you let it go into your technique. So if we take this next motion, for instance, we're stepping over here and I want my head to turn this way. So when my head turns this way, it's going to tighten up through here because it's a stress on my body to turn this way as my hand blocks down. So everything's kind of pointing that way. Then that's this tightening of my rubber band to then release the rubber band to have it pointing forward. So I step and look, really stress the look and twist to then don't turn your head, but relax your body to be able to slingshot back to the front. From there, twist big, relax back to the middle. Try that to start with. This will really help you on where you look. You can see the difference, even watching you on the screen. People that do this, their body is not stressed. It's just standing up and down, which means it's very hard to get any power. But when you stress your body, twist yourself, and then it will snap into position to there. Kick, stress, snap. Get that stress to be able to snap back. Feel the strength build up in your body. Go. Now then you've got to think about where that energy that you've built up is going to go to. So when you step over to there and you've built this energy up by dropping down to there, it's got to release through there and release through there. So you build up the energy and release the energy. If you don't build up energy, there's nothing to release, which means you're really relying on how strong your actual muscles are. But if you really build up energy, then you can snap and release that energy out. And this is key. I'm not a big, strong, muscly person, but I can generate so much power by stressing and building energy and then releasing it in the right spot. And you release in the right spot by having correct technique. Elbows in, which means your lats connected through your stomach, connected down to the ground, which gives you that power. So now try and build up your energy and release it through your knee and your hand. Go. Right, now, so then you've got to think about what goes wrong to stop this or this from happening. So if you bend yourself, I do it side on, if I bend myself over, I've then made it easier on myself to step this way because I put the pressure on my back, which means there's no energy building up, which means there's just trying to be leveraged to do this next bit. But if I step with a nice straight back and I've reached across this way, it'll then snap with good technique into that way. Pointing my toes and dropping down into the ground. Now, by pointing my toes, it'll tighten up this leg. By dropping down, it'll stress this leg. By bringing my elbow in, tighten my lats, it'll stress this arm. By pulling my fingers up, it'll stress this arm. So even though I'm here and strong, my body is stressed because I'm holding it tight. Then I release the energy through the kick. So good technique will then create a good kick after that because you've stressed, created energy, and you've released the energy through the kick. Go. But your body cannot do this if you are strong through here. If you are strong through the center, the only thing that will happen is you'll tilt in one piece. So no one should be doing this to regain your balance. Only thing that should happen is you should fall back or fall over this way with one piece. You can see instantly people who are doing this is always going to wobble because there's no strength through here. So when you have strength through there, that's going to hold strong. You kick, stress back the other way, release through that way. Snap back, arms back. Right, so this is what I want you to do. You want to try and bring your shoulder blades together and squeeze back without lifting your shoulders. Try and break a walnut between your shoulder blades. That's the stress creating, and then you release with the punch. stress, release, stress, release. Get that stress, release, stress, release, stress, release. Go. And don't forget to breathe. Right, stop. Kieran did something wrong. I'm going to have to tell everyone. Can't kick like this, guys. There's no way you can get any power by rocking to kick. Power, down. Don't rock. Go. Sean, watch Kieran. Make sure he doesn't do that again. Leave it too long, though, guys. If you pull back and you're holding, you'll end up trying to do it a different way. So it's got to be stress as much as you can as a quick amount of time to then bounce back forward again. Then down. 1, 2, 3. From there, step first. Block hook, hook around. Right, we talked about this a lot last time, so I'm not going to talk about it again because you should all be knowing what to do by now and you should just be practicing that 3 block to that. But what I want you to work on today is stressing your body and releasing. So from here, step, which should stress your body by dropping down. Your legs are crossed into a bad Zen Kitsuda, so there's a stress in your body. So then you release it by snapping. Step, snap, create energy by pulling those shoulder blades back again, and then release it through for your punch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep your body nice and straight. No bending over. Create the energy. Release the energy. Go. And relax. So, what I'm getting at here, guys, is that when you stress and snap, you'll notice that your hips don't have to do as much. And then when you just add that little wiggle, it just adds that little bit extra into the technique that you do. The Saifa, you can't have that big hip movement. It has to be concentrated. It has to be create energy, release energy. Stress forward rather than this really big motion trying to do everything with leverage. Saifa, that cannot happen. Small, create energy, release. 1, 2, 3, release. Down. From here, this hip going in. So my right hip doesn't go back to start with. My right hip goes in. And that'll stress my body by squeezing in this way. Right hip, in. That creates the energy to release it going back the other way. Stays there, swings back. You haven't created any energy yet. Pull it in to release it back. Just think about that to start with. Go. Pull it in before it goes back. Okay, next thing. This is a perfect example of how using your body like a whip. So if you picture a whip, you don't do a big motion with the handle of the whip for the end of the whip to do a big motion. You do a small motion with the handle to make the end do a big motion. What a lot of you try and do is this is your handle, and you try and do a big motion with the handle, which means the end and the end do even bigger motions, causing no power. The handle should be a very small motion. When the handle is a small motion, the end, which is your foot and your hand, then can do their big motions in a more efficient way. Handle, small, concentrated. End, can do efficient movements. Try that, go. Small little snap with your hip. Right, you should all know this, that if you're striking down, you can't be going up. So it can't be up. It has to be hit down. Small, down. Everything down. The only thing that goes up is your arm, but your lats will pull it down. You release your lats, your arm will do this big motion and your body will go up with it because your arm will pull your body up. But when your lats are focused, the lats will pull you down. And that's your power going down into the ground, pulling your Hikite hand back, down, open, and rotate. Nothing moving. Just there. Center of your forearm to the side of your body, which gives you this position here. Exactly the same as your ready position. Punching underneath, shoulder, little finger, knuckles, all perfectly in line with each other. Go. So, like I said at the start, small concentrated hips. So if you do big hips, it's always going to do this. You're always going to move your center. It has to be concentrated. From here, this is all it is. Just this tiny wee snap of your hips. From there to there, nothing moves, but you've got to get some power from that left hip into your left hand. Right hip, right hand. So it's not one, it's both. Both hips, both hands, working together. Go. Small concentrated motions. Now, you should find that the first one of your Jodan Tetsuis should be more powerful because it's coming from right down here. So you can get this wind up from Zenkutsudachi, get power to there. The second one won't feel as strong. That doesn't matter. It's because it's coming just from here, and you go from Higadachi to Higadachi. What you do need to try and do, though, is get this twist and my left hip going in to then go out. So then you get the wind up of your hand or the whip to then snap it. The wind up to then snap it. Wind up in to then snap back. So this is where we are here. For me to go back this way, I go in to go back out. Squeeze back so that you're in line with head, not over here, in line. My other one's tucked back, and this will help you get power into the second one. So from there, hip goes in first to then go over, squeeze, open, small concentrated hip, and hit to there. Right, so practice that second one, which is a lot different to the first one. Go, just 20 seconds, practicing your second tetsu. Okay, stop. Right, from here, over, cover. 1, 2, 3. So this hand, my right hand, needs to go under and across, so I get this motion here. Most of you are trying to do it with one hand, and this one doing very little. This is your left hand. So if you're right-handed, this is going to have very little power unless you get your other hand involved and your leg involved. So this leg is connected to this hip, so this power is going to come from there, and then putting your other side into it to give you this power. Both hands. Do it again. Go. Get everything working together. No. Right, stop. Right, equal and opposite. Equal and opposite. For this left hand to be able to do this much motion, which is a good 1.5 meters of motion, this one has to do exactly the same. It has to do the same amount of motion. So it has to be full motion with this other hand. So then both of them working together. This can't do 30 centimeters and this do 1.5 meters. It doesn't work. Both even and opposite. Go. Get that right. Righto, next bit. So I've done my left-handed tetsui up here. I've pulled in. Now, what most people do is they step and they swing their body back this way to do their punch, because it's the perfect time to use leverage to be able to really swing your body back and swing your body forward. That is a very basic way to learn how to do this kata, by swinging. Once you've got that, you then have to concentrate your hips. So it's square to the front, there, not all the way here, turning your chest. This is way too slow. If you think about how long it takes to wind up back here, to then step forward, way too long. It has to be just there. You square up to the center of the Sachindachi, square, and then snap to do your punch. That's all it is. Use the snap of your hips. Don't use the leverage of the step. That's what has to be. Step, punch. 1, 2, go. Now, people overcomplicate this next bit where it doesn't have to be complicated. So for me to get my left hand from there, the quickest way is through the center. Just bend it and straighten it. Don't overcomplicate things. It's just bending it, get it out of the way. You're not doing anything with it, and then put it back out again. Don't try and make it fancy by going down or around or make it slow, because you need to be in time with the speed of your feet. We want to step fast and snap fast. So to be able to get your hands in time with that, they can't do anything else. It just has to be in and out. That's it. Start with that. Good. Okay. Now, the next bit. Because everyone's different, everyone's kata will be slightly different. So if we take something like this, for example, you will be just that little bit different to everyone else. This is no big deal on how high this is. As long as it's not right up there or right down there, as long as this is pretty much straight across, everyone will be a little bit different. The key principles have to be right though. With your lats tight, you will squeeze down to there, and for me, that is my perfect position, that height. You may be a little bit higher, you may be a little bit lower, it doesn't matter. But as long as your lats are tight, you will generally be in the right spot. As soon as your lats are not tight, this elbow will go out, you've got a lot of gap in here, and then your arms are wrong. So it's the principles that go into it is the key. That is what you focus on, not how high things have to be exact. Because when you have the principles right, everything else will be happening fine. These lats in here tuck in, which means that'll be nice and flat. That'll be nice and flat. One fist there, wrist straight, from there to there. Go. In, it's how you whip it in. So from here, my shoulders, hips, and everything is square to the front. I can't change that. It can't turn. It's from there just to there. That's all it is. Because as soon as you start changing things, other things will change more. The handle of your whip moves small for the end of your whip to move big. Big doesn't work. You will never get a whip out of a big handle motion. Small handle motion. Small handle motion. Fast whip. Fast whip. Go. Small handle motion. Okay, so you've gone from there. You've stepped, and this knee is just as bent as you want it to be there. From that point there, you have created your height. And then your height doesn't change. Don't create your height once you've already turned. It's too late. Step, create your height. 1, 2. Then away to push. Now, have you seen my Nicoashin arch? From my knee down to my heel, this should be one straight line up through my hands. Just like that. That is where you know that your Tiragooch and your Nicoashin arch are perfect. From there, 1, 2, that one straight line. Go.